This is our video on our original YouTube channel. Yes, it's hot. It's Sunday. In this video, I promised you guys on my other channel that I was going to do this video, and I'm going to do this video. This one's going to be called Sex Game, the top 9 black screenwriters and producers in film and television. Now, there's a lot of black men in Hollywood who don't get the respect that they rightfully deserve. And what I mean by rightfully deserved, they don't get it because sometimes they get overlooked. They only get known for being an actor in television and film. And these are 9 of the best of the best. Not perfect, but carefully researched and carefully picked by me. These are people who also are filmmakers and producers, but we're highlighting screenwriters and producers and black men who have broken barriers, who have opened doors for people like Lee and you to break into the industry, whether it's television, whether it's film, whether it's sports, whether you want to be a film producer, a film director, a screenwriter, whether you want to be an actor in television and film, whatever your dream or passion is, these guys open the door and paved the way for people like me and you to do it. Even on YouTube, to come on here and make these videos, it would not be possible without these men that I'm about to name and mention. Some of these people you have heard of, some of these people you have never heard of and are just hearing for the first time. All right, so let's get to it. The first person on my list coming in at number 9 is Idris Elba. Now, he broke onto the scene in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Yes, he's from the United Kingdom. He's a big, well-accomplished actor there. He came to the United States and he made a mark that lasts for quite some time. A lot of y'all feel like he should be the next James Bond. I mean, I understand it's not going to happen, but he has potential to still play James Bond if they want to change their mind. He just came as an actor. And then he later on started doing this TV show called Luther, which was a big hit in the United Kingdom. They loved the show so much that they made a movie. And then I think about a year and a half ago, they brought Luther back, as a reunion for his character. So his character got to get a television show and a movie. Then he got to become the main character of The Wire on HBO. Good acclaimed show. And his career has taken off. He got to be in Thor, got to be in the Thor movies, he got to be in Ghost Rider 2, he got to be in a lot of big blockbuster movies. Then he hooked up with Tyler Perry and did a movie. Then he did 2 movies with Tyler Perry, and then he got his own production company. Now, this guy can do it all. This guy can produce. This guy can write. A lot of people were shocked when he did a rap song for what's her name? She's an R&B singer. She used to be on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta before she moved to Love and Hip Hop New York. Y'all know who I'm talking about, that R&B singer. I forgot her name already, but he directed and produced her music video. So he is very talented, very blessed with talent. He can produce, he can write, he can direct, he can act, and he can write scripts. And pretty soon I have a feeling he's going to start directing some movies and TV shows in the near future. So he is really good in front of the camera as he is behind the camera. So there's a lot of debate to what he's good at, being on camera or being behind the camera. And to me, he's good at both. A lot of people greatly compare him to Spike Lee when it comes to his directing and writing skills. And when it comes to his producing and acting, he gets compared to Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker, respectively. All right, coming in at number 8 is Michael J. White. Now, Michael J. White, I had him in my last video, a person who done a lot of martial arts. All people see Michael J. White is a guy that acts in movies and television shows, and he does a lot of martial arts. He has other skill sets that didn't get acknowledged until like almost 20 years later. He can produce. That's how Black Dynamite came about. When he hooked up with Tyler Perry, he did a lot of movies and television shows for Tyler Perry, and that's where he kind of, got a huge insight in producing and directing. And that's how Black Dynamite came about. So he kind of came up with the concept to that story. He made the live action movie, he made the anime, he made the comic book. So he has a lot of skills that people don't know about. He's a good producer, he's a good director, a good voice actor. And when he wrote certain parts of the Black Dynamite script, people were shocked that some of the lines that you saw in the movie were actually written from him. And a lot of people didn't know he had that type of talent to begin with. They just thought all he just known for is martial arts and doing movies, and that's it. So he showed you the full scope. Yes, it's hot. He showed you the full scope of what he can do as a person. And if it weren't for Michael J. White, like I said before in my last video, you wouldn't get too many black men trying to do martial arts. He's one of the positive influences on me when it comes to that. Coming in at number 7 is Spike Lee. Spike Lee is the man, okay? Spike Lee came in the 1980s, the 80s, the 90s, and he was already kicking ass and taking names, well accomplished person. You know, he first started doing documentary films in the 80s, and then some of these documentary films that he would direct, all of a sudden he would turn them into feature length films. And then he kind of got on the same level as Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and then he was already into producing, writing, and directing. He was already doing that. And at that time, it was unheard of for you to be doing all of it, producing, writing, and directing. And at that time, he faced a lot of challenges because they just wanted him to do music videos. And a lot of people don't remember. He did one or two music videos, and then he did documentary films, and then he broke into television and film, and then he got on to the big time, and he has never looked back because he's done movies like, you know, Get on the Bus, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X. You know, he's done a lot of movies. You remember him, Love and Basketball. You know, he's done these movies. And to me, he's like, if not the first, either the second or the third person that came into the game and opened the door for you. Because if it weren't for Spike Lee, you wouldn't be getting too many of these men coming in here and trying to produce, write, and direct. You wouldn't get that. And he did it at a period where they weren't really letting a whole lot of people do a whole lot of stuff. He came in and did it and got acceptance for it. And today, he's being highly regarded and respected. He helped out Denzel Washington. And that's how Denzel started to get, you know, into the producing and the directing. All right, coming in at number 6 is Bill Duke. Now, Bill Duke started in the late 70s, early 80s, well-accomplished actor, been acting for almost 3 decades, been in a lot of your favorite blockbuster movies of the 80s and the 90s. You've seen movies like The Predator, you've seen Commando, so he's done movies with Carl's Weather, Action Jackson, Predator, Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's done those types of movies. You know, he's done movies with Wesley Snipes. He's done some movies with Denzel Washington. He's done movies with all the big names in Hollywood in the 80s and the 90s. And he's known for this one documentary, what I highly recommend you watch. Is called For Color Girls, because he did the documentary. He took his own money and produced the project. And at that time, it was just a documentary film, and then it became a full feature-length film like about 10 years ago because he wanted to do something different. And when he did the documentary film, it revived his career to the point where people don't just see him as an actor. They now see him as a guy that can now be a filmmaker. And he also did some feature-length films. You know, he hooked up with Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum and did that movie called, I think, Deep Undercover. Yeah, that was his movie that he directed. So he did documentaries. He came in that same period as Spike Lee. So the difference between Spike Lee and him is that Spike Lee does movies on concepts that make you sit down and think about life more. Bill Duke's more of a, I'm going to take something that you've seen before and broaden it into a different perspective and have you look at it in a different way than you saw what it was originally intended for. So that's the difference between the two. All right, coming in at number 5 is my man Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler Perry, I told you about him in my last video. Tyler Perry has broken ground in areas that nobody thought possible. He went from nowhere to everywhere. You know, the guy became rich and famous. He became a multi-millionaire. And when he couldn't get no one to produce, write, or direct his theater plays, he became the producer. He became the writer. He became the director. And he started acting. And then a lot of these plays turn into feature-length films and television shows. And he has his own production company. And a lot of times when he goes and visits someone in high school and college, he always tries his best to motivate and inspire someone to follow in his footsteps. And when you watch his movies, they're not entirely the same thing. He takes a different genre and tries his best to bring out the best in that creativity. Now, he's not perfect because some people get on him about his elementary skills when it comes to filmmaking, but he loves the fundamentals of the filmmaking style. He has his own unique style to how he directs movies from plays. It's a compare and contrast. So he's kind of made what you didn't think was popular. Now the plays, people weren't watching these plays in the beginning until he started doing them. Now everyone wants to do a play basically, and he's helped out careers. People who act in the '80s and the '90s, early 2000s, he's found them some work, helped them get back into the game of acting, and along the way he's helped people come up as producers, writers, directors for his company. So some of the same people you see in his movies also work for his company. So it ain't just he just bring you into his movies and TV shows and you get your paycheck. He tries to help you understand the business of filmmaking so you can go back out and help someone like me understand what it is that I'm doing right and wrong and how to do it better. Coming in at number 4 is Forrest Whitaker. A lot of people don't give this man his respect and his due. He's did a lot of stuff for us as African Americans. He's played characters in movies and television shows that people were not willing to do in their acting career, and he did it. And he's been in acting for like 3 decades. And the guy has won an Oscar, an Academy Award. The guy has done some directing, okay? A lot of people don't know that he directs movies. He did direct 2 or 3 feature films. They were good films. It's a shame that he never got an Oscar as a film director, but he also is a good producer. And that's where his strength lies, is in his producing ability. He's able to get people into movies and television shows because he's so good at basically helping you get to where you need to go. Now, of course, he wants you to do the work yourself, and then he'll take care of the rest. But the reason why I say he needs more respect and more credit is because everybody looks at the Denzel Washingtons, the Elgin Albas, and the Tyler Perrys, and nobody really thinks of him in that high regard. They just still see Forrest Whitaker as an actor and nothing else. He's done more than just be an actor. And this is someone that's been very, very, very important in the community. He's someone who will come into a neighborhood that's bad and will actually sit down and speak to the people when he has a chance. He's not like all these big time celebrities that get rich and famous and go, oh, forget where I. He's not like that. Like if you speak to him, you would know. There was like maybe one chance where I could have actually spoken to him at West LA College, but it never happened because I had to go to the dentist. Surprise, surprise. And one of my teachers in business, who passed away like 10 years ago, she goes to this church in Hollywood. Well, not Hollywood. It's before you get to Hollywood. And it's a very famous church. And when I say the name of it, you'll know. I think they call it San Angeles. She used to go to that church. And in that church, Forrest Whitaker would sometimes be at that church. Denzel Washington would be at that church. And she would be sitting in the front row, basically there. They would be talking about, stuff that goes on in the world. And one of her biggest supporters was Forrest Whitaker. He supported her in her venture to be a teacher and then to go to the United Kingdom and teach 300 people how to speak English. He supported her in that. And when you get someone like Forrest Whitaker coming to your community college to speak to kids about you should stay in school and listen to your parents, that's somebody you should revere. Forrest Whitaker is not like all these other guys that flash their money because I'm rich and famous. He's one of those guys that wants you to take that hard look in the mirror and go, what is your full potential? Why I say that? Because he did a movie that I like to this very day called the Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. It's one of my favorite martial art movies. He didn't get a whole lot of credit for that because he took on roles that people normally don't take on, and that's what led to him getting into a Star Wars movie. So that tells you right there about Forrest Whitaker. All right, coming in at number 3 is my man Denzel Washington. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. He is the Michael Jordan of this shit because nobody does it better than Denzel Washington. He did a movie that he should have got an Oscar for. He got 2 or 3, I think, Academy Awards for it, but he never got an Oscar for it. A lot of people were upset, and that movie was called Anton Fisher because it was based on a true story. It was in the military, and he did his best to get close to telling a story. He produced it, he written it, he directed, and then he acted in the movie. He even went as far as to go get the actor Daryl Luke to play the main character and pretty much launched his whole career, basically. I don't want to say his whole career, but he got him started in the very beginning. And a lot of people were shocked that Denzel was able to do it with his own style. And people feel like to this day he should have gotten an Oscar for his directing debut as well as his acting. Like they chose to say it's his acting over the directing, but Denzel also produced. And people are shocked because he got ideas from Spike Lee, and Spike Lee said, make it your own, and Denzel did exactly that. He made it his own. So we got to have Denzel on here. It wouldn't be fun if you did not have Denzel on the list. All right, coming in at number 2 is Jordan Peele. You've seen the movie Get Out. You've seen that other movie called Us. He makes some big hits. And his producing, writing, and directing skills, it goes 20 years back to when he was on a TV show called Mad TV. Almost said Saturday Night. He didn't eventually get on the Saturday Night Live here or there in a spot. But Mad TV is where he was at, where he showcased his style of acting. He's known for his comedian chops, but he's good at other genres. He also revived a television show 2 years ago called The Twilight Zone. His vision. Now, he's someone that has kind of come into a period where I said in past videos that when the horror genre was falling apart, he revived it. He kind of saved it and revived it and got you interested in it. When people was getting ready to turn away from comedy, he revived comedy too. I mean, I don't know when they're going to finally give him his judge due on that. I don't know, but eventually he will get it. And to me, he's just getting started as a director. Like we still have, to me, I don't think we still have not seen his best work yet. I still think with him the best is yet to actually come. We still have not seen his best. Like what we think is his best, that's like the beginning. Like he has something that's gonna be better than what we saw. So coming in at number 1 is Ryan Gosling. Sorry if I messed up the last name. That is somebody that we saw and directed and wrote certain parts of the script of the Black Panther movie. See, everyone was getting on him about Creed. He came back with Creed 2, which was better than the first Creed. Then he comes back with Black Panther. Now he's going to direct the sequel. And same thing with him. He's in the beginning of his career. We haven't seen him hit his prime yet. And for him to be producing, writing, and directing is it's incredible because usually when you watch a Marvel movie, they might let you write and they might let you direct. They might let you do those, but to produce, write, and direct the Black Panther, they have to have a whole lot of trust in your ability to do that. And it seems like he has earned that trust where Marvel will say, okay, we'll let you produce, we'll let you write, and we'll let you direct. You know, that's pretty much that. So these are the people on this list. Some of y'all will agree with the names on this list. Some of you will disagree. Some of you might say, how come John Singleton's not on this list? And if I was to put John Singleton on this list, he probably would come right at the top with Ryan Gosling because that's who you would expect to direct the Black Panther movie is probably John Singleton because he understands the culture of us. He understands our struggles as black people. So if I was to put John Singleton on this list, he probably might come in at number 2 or number 3. And then in the near future, I might make a whole fully fledged video that's just all about John Singleton and what he's done for African Americans as regarding to filmmaking. So that's for anyone who might say, well, what about him? So I forgot, but you know what I mean. Until next time, peace.